we're just like, this is evil, but kind of funny for TikTok. So, let's put it in the game. We added that item 2 days before launch because we thought it would be funny. We really plan on expanding the Bing Bong cinematic universe here at Aggro Crab because I think his story needs to be told.
Co-op climbing game Peak scrambled its way to the top of the Steam charts when it launched in June, selling over 5 million copies in its first month and hosting over 102,000 concurrent players in the first week. Ever since, it's become a staple for groups of friends and even the lone scout brave enough to face the mountains for themselves. Today, I'm joined with Nick, studio head at Aggro Crab, to talk about the climbing adventure's success and what could be on the horizon. So, hi Nick, thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So my first question is, how did the reception surprise you at launch, and did you expect so many people to jump in and play straight away?
Oh my god, no, we were not expecting this at all. We modeled the game's launch plans after Landfall's previous game content warning, which seemed like a flash in the pan, a once-in-a-lifetime success. So we thought maybe if we're lucky, we'd do half as well, right? Because that game is just, so viral in its premise. But I think a lot of stuff took us off guard. Like, people just really loved the mechanics. People loved the theming. People loved the fact that you can really immerse yourself in the characters and just kind of and role play as them. And I think that was something we were surprised by. Obviously, we developed the game with that in mind, but it's really awesome to just see how many people resonated with that and are being lost scouts on an island.
So it's funny that you talk about the theming, actually, because in another email interview you did with a member of PC Gamer, you said that Peak originally started as, the idea of it was a open world survival game. So what happened during the development process? I understand that a lot of it was as part of a Korean game jam. So what happened in that process that changed the idea?
Yeah, so when we're talking process, we're really talking about 1 week, which was the first week of the jam where we kind of figured everything out. When it was more of an open world survival thing, that was when we were in pre-planning, right? Just talking about the game over Discord, getting ready for this big trip. And yeah, it's just because we hadn't prototyped. I think when you start actually prototyping a game, that's when you learn what the game actually wants to be, right? So open world survival was kind of just our way of saying this game could be about a lot of things, because all we knew at the time was that we wanted you to be lost on a deserted island. So maybe there's more of a cooking element or a exploration element. And at one point there were enemy mobs and animals and things that you'd have to contend with. But I think once we prototyped that climbing mechanic, which we did think that climbing was going to be at least part of the game, because you would have to get to the top of the mountain to get rescued, or the top of this island. But once we had it, we were like, oh my god, this is so much fun, that it made more sense to just center the game around that. And then the stamina bar came in, and honestly, development got really easy after we had those two things: the climbing mechanic and the stamina bar.
A lot of the physics are sort of clumsy, goofy physics that we see in Peak. We have seen sort of in content warning, like you say, and a lot of the colourful aesthetics from, let's say, Another Crab's Treasure, they really shine through in Peak. So did you find the experience that you and the rest of the team had on the previous games really lended itself to developing a game like Peak? Or was it somewhat challenging to sort of create something with a unique identity when you have so many well-established games already?
Oh, absolutely, the experience helped. I think especially on the Landfall side, because when you have that physics-controlled character, that's really their special sauce, and not a lot of game studios can really replicate their exact way of doing that. But it gets you this super fun physics character that looks really silly when it falls off a mountain, right? Like that's so crucial to the game. So them having that experience just ready to go, it's definitely like pretty meaningful. And then on our side, I think we bring Aggro Crab's voice and style to this project from our other games as well. I don't think it's as like specifically, unique and I guess proprietary, but I think it did help. I think people see our style in the project too, and it seems like it went a long way because people just really like the character designs, people like the art, and the guidebook was all written by our writer Kaylin.
Regarding sort of future updates for Peak that might be in the works, in a note published to Steam, it was stated that possible updates might range from quality of life features to new content and all the funny additions that we wish to make real from the start. But are there any items or features that you're desperately wanting to add or think that would benefit the general experience of playing?
Well, the general experience of playing, I mean, we're looking at, hey, I'm talking to you gamers right now. We are looking at your bug reports, your quality of life reports. All that stuff is being looked at and addressed when we can, right? Like we, again, are a small team. We made this game in a unnaturally short amount of time, and we're doing our best to keep up with how big the game has gotten to be. So it's a little slow, but those quality of life things are coming. This weekend, I just made a feature that reduces head bobbing on the camera because there's some players who get motion sickness, right? Like, first, our priority is to kind of get as many people to have a good experience as possible with the game that currently can't. So that's where those quality of life changes come in. I've also added the ability to pause the game when you're playing offline. A lot of people are asking for that. So we are seeing your requests. That's exciting. Now, future stuff, content, that's also on its way. We're working on a major content update. So there's kind of this tension right now between like, oh, should we hold back on new items and stuff until this big update, or should we kind of drip feed them? I don't have anything specific that I necessarily want to share there, but yeah, there's a ton of cool items and stuff that we want to add, and other ways to climb the mountain and other hazards on the mountain.
So do you think that, or do you see Peak receiving sort of numerous significant content updates, or do you think that it will be more of that like drip feed, here's a couple new things that people might just discover along the way?
We'll have to see. I mean, it's definitely going to be a little bit of both for a while. And we'll want to see like, okay, we'll put out a big update. Does that make a difference to people, right? Like, right now we're seeing pretty consistent numbers as far as, our long tail of the game. People keep buying it. I mean, it's not as crazy as it was a week ago or the week before that, but it's still going strong, right? And sometimes these games in this genre can be a flash in the pan of just like, or a fad, let's say, where it's the hot thing for 2 weeks and then everyone moves on. And I think with Peak we're seeing a bit more staying power because we've added things like badges that you have to collect and ascents to make the run harder, right? There's reasons to come back to this game, so I think we're seeing a more consistent concurrent player count, and we're seeing pretty consistent sales. So that will die down eventually, like every game does. And if we put out an update and that's received well, then that's gonna tell us, to keep making more updates. And if everyone's moved on, and if it's a dead game, then maybe it's a dead game. But we're still having a lot of fun just like adding stuff. So for now, yes.
So were there any items or features that were drafted up in like pre-development, I guess, or during development that didn't make it into the game at launch that you just wish that they had?
Yeah, I mean, there's one that we had to cut because it was buggy, which was the warp compass that just teleported you to another player.
At random.
Yeah, at random. So maybe it sends you to the player that's like way ahead of you, or maybe it sends you to the player that's passed out at the bottom of the mountain. But you could use it a few times. So you could like use it to get to that dead player and then like use it on them to teleport them to the top. But right now it's buggy, so maybe we'll fix that and bring it back. Yeah, there's probably a few more items. I could check. Yeah, there's the binoculars that just had a stupid bug, but that's on its way back. People data mine the game, so they can just like, I've seen TikToks of people just like playing with items that they don't spawn in the luggage or anything. They're just hidden. And people are like, look at this, haha, and then everyone in the comments is like, oh my god, I've never seen that, how do I get that? And it's like, okay, it's a mod.
New
I don't
update
know.
question mark.
Yeah. Wait, I have one more cut item. This is an existing item. It's the rope, but we cut this ability that the rope could do, where you know how you have to like tie it to the ground and then it's like stuck there. Yeah, before you could just spool it out and it's like physical in your hands, and other players could climb it while you're holding it. Our physics are not that good. It only kind of worked. It was awesome, but it was way too buggy. So we made it so you have to tie it down.
Do you have a favorite item?
I mean, Shelf Shroom's up there because I designed it.
Mm-hmm. That saved me so many times.
Yeah. Same with the magic bean, although I think people don't use it too often. People don't find it too often.
Yeah.
Oh, the blowgun is definitely a favorite.
The amount of times I've been like, I don't want to play this game with you if you keep shooting me with that thing.
Well, it actually heals you completely after it's done putting you to bed. So that's another one where it's like, do players know that? Do they figure that out? We added that item 2 days before launch because we thought it would be funny.
Yeah.
And it is funny. So we did great. Yes, just so many things like that are like, okay, this is kind of an evil thing. Same with the cursed skull. Like, it didn't always kill you instantly. It did something else before. I forget what it did, but we're just like, this is evil, but kind of funny for TikTok. So, let's put it in the game. And those, I think, are some of the best items we've got.
Have there been any ways that players have used the existing items in the game that have like made you think, that's not supposed to happen? How have you done that? Has any of that been so surprising?
I just saw a TikTok where a guy like passes out on the side of the mountain because of the blizzard, and then like the shelf mushroom pops out of your pocket when you pass out, right? So he was gonna fall off the mountain, but the mushroom popped out and it hit the wall and it like saved him. So that's one of the coolest things I've seen. I don't know, most of the items like people are using the way we intend, outside of like, exploits. Like the chain launcher, I had to nerf it because you could shoot it directly vertical and like climb up it really fast, and that was not the intent of the item. It's for like going across gaps, right? So I was like, okay, well now you can only fire it up to a 45-degree angle, and like I knew people were going to be mad about that because everyone's always wants the cheese item, but my bargaining with the community is I buffed 2 other items, the rope cannons, so hopefully that's a fair trade-off. There's also a bug where like if you die at the top of the mountain at the peak, you win, because we just didn't check if you were alive when you summoned, like when you're at the peak. We just check if you're there. So people
pulling the like corpse of a scout into the helicopter.
Yeah, the skeleton. You can be passed out and win. You just can't be a skeleton.
Oh, okay.
So now that works. In the next update, that'll work. So yeah, there's just things like this, guys.
When I got to the peak for the first time, I had like this much stamina because my hunger was just like going through, and I was like, if I don't make it, I did by the skin of my teeth.
That's cinema, right? We love that. That's
it was one of those
story.
moments where I was like, I just need to just step away and be like, yes, because it had taken me hours to do.
It's really cool how many just like player stories we see like that, like of just, I mean, that's the point of the game, that you're just on this like big journey but
Mhm.
you just see it in people when they peak, like the raw emotion of having overcome it.
Yeah.
That's
It
been really rewarding.
strengthens friendships as well.
It does.
It really does, because when you complete it with a friend, you're like, we are in it for life. Like, this
Yeah.
is life and death, and we've just done this.
Yeah, it's so cool to see that, because like so many of these like co-op games are about screwing your friends over and like ruining friendships, so to speak. Obviously you can do that a ton in Peak, but when you work together, it's really cool.
So what do you think of like the speed runs and stuff that you've seen from
Oh,
players?
I've heard there's drama.
Oh, is there?
There's drama
Spill
because
the beans.
there's people cheesing. There's you can ragdoll yourself and then jump and then it'll launch someone to the next campfire. And I just want to say here, as a representative of the dev team, it's a different category, guys. There's glitchless, no major glitches, and there's whatever that is. So I like watching the ones with no major glitches where they are actually climbing up the mountain. Obviously, the mountain changes every day, so it's kind of hard to rank one speedrun above another. But it does sound like there's a pretty cool leaderboard for the game going on. Let's see what's the top time right now. Oh, sub 20. Wow, it's a 19-minute 52 seconds.
That actually puts me to shame.
Oh, and some people are using a set seed for the mountain, so they're not. There is a consistent map. Yeah, it puts me to shame too. I'm not like I'm nowhere near that good.
So one thing that I need to know is, why did you choose to add the Scoutmaster? And firstly, why is it so terrifying? The first time that I had that encounter, I was actually fearful for my life.
What Scoutmaster? What are you talking about?
He's so scary. Was it gonna be apart from the beginning, or did you think that there needed to be a punishment for the people that were like, screw you guys, I'm going?
Yeah, I think over the course of the 1 month jam, we kept talking about like, enemies, just like something with a brain that's on the mountain that you have to deal with. And we had a lot of ideas for animals you could encounter that could attack you. And we had this idea for like a guy, and we're like, ooh, that'd be scary. And we ended up not having time for too much of that stuff. But we were like, okay, we need at least one. So once we finished the jam and everyone went home, Willem, the CEO of Landfall, just like cooked it up, like without anyone really contributing, and just put it in the game. And we were like, all right, this seems good. This seems to work. That's kind of how we operate. Someone will just do something and it's cool, so we add it. But yeah, I mean, we the friend swap genre has a lot of roots in horror. We figured it would just lead to funny moments and scary moments, and it ended up being useful for that case, right, of players abandoning their friends. We had this whole lore figured out of, we in the guidebook it says don't abandon your friends, and a lot of people just kind of listen to that because it's there in the guidebook. So you can it was kind of a cheap design to add to the game, right? Because we could make some mechanic that prevents you from leaving them, that punishes you, or we could just say, hey, don't do it, and then people actually talk about that with their friends and agree on that. So that's cool, because during testing we would find that sometimes one of us would leave everyone behind, and then it's just not as fun, because it's like we've lost each other, we're playing solo, two different places on the mountain. It's not as cool. So we kind of killed two birds with one stone when we figured, oh, the Scoutmaster could just show up when someone goes off on their own, because if he sees you and he's chasing you, you're probably dead. So it's not like something that we want to just make happen a lot of the time. It has to be pretty rare. So this made sense as the time to bring it out.
So my last question, and what I think so many people are asking, is there any lore about Bing Bong and why he needs to escape that you can share with us?
Bing Bong has a lot of lore. his wife left him. That's canon. He, I guess, runs an airline company. He I mean, he needs to escape the same reason any of us do, right? Bing Bong, we really plan on expanding the Bing Bong cinematic universe here at Aggro Crab, because I think his story needs to be told. He originated from a like joke pitch. It's just an inside joke at the studio, but now it's something much bigger. So we'll see where that goes.
He's getting his own merch.
He's getting his own merch. Yeah. It's all.
Everything's coming up Bing Bong.
Yeah, that's yes. Everything's coming up Bing Bong.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me, Nick. I can't wait to see what's in store for Peak and continue to probably fall to my doom, to the dismay of my friends that decide to climb with me. So,
thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.